Now tell me who wanna fuck with us? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I bang and let your fucking brains hang. Snitches, fuck Marley for bitches with riches who carry 22s up in they hosiery. A black telling when my father bustin' and loaded me, think he just finished sniffing the key.
And when I was coming, I was reading the interview that you gave XXL like 11 years ago.
Yeah, more than 11 years ago. Yeah, you're right, 11, because my album came out the year before.
Yeah, June.
Yeah.
01. So what was your state of mind? Because I remember you was just 21.
I was on trial. I was actually on trial. And you know.
And what happened through your mind? Because you are singing with Bad Boy, chilling with Diddy, with J-Lo, album with Bad Boy.
Yeah.
And then boom.
Yeah. When I did that interview, you know, I was on trial and I was facing 25 years. You know what I'm saying? Again, people like to be revisionists. You know, they want to go back and change what it was. But the bottom line is, you know, a situation happened, a very unfortunate situation, you know, where, you know, 3 people were injured. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, one of those people tried to shoot me. You know what I'm saying? One of those people tried to shoot me. One of those people was my homegirl, you know, a woman by the name of Tanya Rubin. I knew her. She was a singer. She was from my block. You know what I'm saying? We was cool. Go to the studio together, all that. And, you know, I'm definitely sorry that she had to suffer. But there was like 4 guns going off that night. At least 4 guns going off that night. You understand what I'm talking about? So, with the exception of the guy that I shot one guy, I pulled out and I tried to shoot the guy that shot me, that was shooting at me, that was getting ready to shoot at me, that pulled out. He reached for his gun, I shot him, security guard grabbed my hand, and that's when the gun went off, and a bunch of other guns was going off. So we don't know who got hit, other than that one guy, you know what I'm saying, from whose ricochet. That's number one. So I'm dealing with all that. All these tough guys, the same way dudes is on Twitter talking reckless and everybody's tough, that's the same way it was. But now all these tough guys is testifying against me. Everybody testified. Scar, who's from Brooklyn, who used to be a little thug, little gangster, ratchet game and all that. He cooperated with the DA. You know what I mean? He cooperated with the DA. The other kid, Julius Jones, who pulled out, he cooperating with the DA. Everybody cooperating. You understand? And then my co-defendant, you know, he is totally against me. He don't even talk to me while we on trial. You know what I'm saying? He called the witness, the most damaging witness, a chick by the name of Sharice Myers. And when we seen the witnesses on the list, I stepped to him like, yo, blood, you can't call this woman. Number one, she lying, and number two, is the most devastating witness. Why? Because it's one thing when the district attorney say, yo, Shyne was wilding out, but it's another thing when my co-defendant, you understand, who's supposed to be my homeboy, call a witness that says even worse than what the DA is saying. It's gonna finish me. And she lying. At least if you're gonna call a witness, let her tell a story that's gonna benefit all of us, which is the truth. You ain't have a gun, you ain't shoot nobody, fine. You understand? The other kids was trying to shoot at us, the other kids was threatening us, which everybody testified to, and Shyne pulled out his gun in self-defense, to defend him, to defend everyone. You understand? If you gonna call a witness, that's what you're supposed to say. That's like somebody running up in here right now, and something jump off, and I do what I need to do. You understand? And then they arrest all of us. And then you call, you understand? One of the other dudes that they didn't arrest. They just arrest us 3, but they didn't arrest the other 2. And then you call a dude, and he don't get up there and be like, yo, man, guys bum rushing in here, and Shyne let off and trying to help her. He say, nah, you know, Shyne just start shooting. We don't know what happened. And you like, yo, that ain't how it happened, number one. And I was defending all of us. So imagine what I was going through. So that's when I did that interview. And I knew I was gonna get convicted. I just didn't know they was gonna hit me with so much time. You understand? And so that interview was like the last interview I did, and I told him, listen, don't put it out until the trial is over. Because
Okay.
a lot of things I was saying that could affect me, they could use it at trial. So I was, I was letting loose. That was right there in the thick of it. I'm going to court every day. Met hat low, Yankee hat low. You understand? Giant hat. I had all the fitted. I had a fitted for every day. Gucci suit. Versace suits on, and just really on my mobster thing. And that's so that was just given in a real honest way. And that's what I'm saying with all these kids out here. Everybody's a tough guy now, and everybody raps about this life, but they never lived that. With the exception of C Murder and True Life and Max B and where those guys at? They all in prison. Fat Joe is a stand-up guy that definitely escaped
Saigon.
That escaped Saigon. That's my comrade. A few dudes, Mike Son, who's out now, but did like 7 with me. You understand? So, but none of these guys that's out here rapping ever performed under pressure. You did with like I said, with the exception of the old timers, Scarface, Ghostface Killer, and Ray. But none of these guys ever perform under pressure. Hova was really, about that life as far as being a hustler and being on the streets, moving that dog food. But none of these other guys ever performed under pressure, and they just say anything. They just tell good stories, and it's all Hollywood, But Shyne, regardless of what they want to say now, I performed under pressure. I did it. The biggest mob bosses, when they was faced with 25 years or life, Joseph Messina, Sammy the Bull, the list goes on. With the exception of John Gotti, they all rolled over. So even though my co-defendant was calling witnesses to testify against me, even though it was a terrible situation, I did it. Med had low, BK Bot, you understand, worldwide mobster attitude and perseverance. I did it. So that's where the interview comes from. And that's where my music comes from. My music comes from a very honest place. When you listen to Gangland, everything there is all honesty. Frank Matthews. That's the conscience of a dope dealer. That's how Jay-Z really feels. And when you listen to Jay-Z's music, Hova music is real honest. He don't really be telling stories. He don't really be exaggerating. But all these other guys, you know what I'm saying? They storytellers. They maybe their brother might have did that. Maybe, they cousin or they friends. But they ain't really about that. And my message is you don't have to be about that. That's my message. If you nice with the pen game, if you're a great musician, then why don't you just rap about your truth? You know what I'm saying? Why don't you rap about changing gang culture? Why don't you rap about changing the circumstances that lead to your comrades having to blow somebody's brains out, having to sell, 1,000 keys, having to live on the run, having to live the rest of their life behind a pen? Why don't you make records about how can we change that? How can we stop that?
But don't you think that now the game has changed a little bit? Like Wiz Khalifa, all these new guys, they don't even talk about the street. They're just talking about having fun, smoking weed.
Yeah, I don't really listen to them, so I couldn't tell you. You know what I'm saying? But there's still a few of the popular artists that, that their focus is on this life that they never lived, and they don't. You could tell because their music isn't honest. They have no conscience. It's just like, I'm selling 1 million keys, and I'm making, tens of millions of dollars, and and that's not the truth. That's not honest, man. There's a lot of paranoia with that life. There's a lot of, backstabbing and double crossing, a lot of betrayal. You understand? A lot of lives lost, a lot of comrades, doing life in the penitentiary. It's not a pretty life. So you can tell by the way they talk about it, it's not honest because they just giving one side. You know what I'm saying?
Can you tell us what's the situation of, if there is really a situation with Kendrick Lamar?
Listen, this kid, the game, he's a whore. He's a media whore, and I say that, in just matter of fact. He's my protege. He's my protege. He idolized me. I'm about to put out some audio today, matter of fact, where one of his artists is telling the whole story on how when the artist got signed, Gabe told him, go listen to all the Shyne albums, study Shyne. He studied me. You know, it's like B.I.G. influenced me. You know, ain't a rapper from the 90s that wasn't influenced by Notorious B.I.G. Ain't a rapper from Brooklyn that wasn't inspired by B.I.G. B.I.G. is, you know, God of rap, you know, one of the greatest ever, you know what I'm saying? So I would never, you know, say anything about B.I.G. You know, even Hov inspired me. Jigga, Jay-Z inspired me. You know what I mean? That's one of my influences. I study him. I would never, even if him and I didn't get along, and, you know, I would talk about what we didn't get along about, or I would say whatever, but I would never, you know what I mean, go to the limits that these dudes is going to.
Doing, you know, 10 years in jail, you know, dropping soap every day and, you know, being a low-key butt pirate for 10 years.
That's what you're gonna do.
You know, it gets it could change your life.
Where they just, so that says you're a whore. You're just gonna say anything. You know what I'm saying? You're just gonna say anything. You know, you're just gonna do anything when the reality for the last 12 years ain't been that. For the last 12 years, you've been screaming free Shyne. For the last 12 years, every album you come out with, you rap about me. You gonna do your time with Shyne. You gonna smuggle Shyne out of Belize. You just put out the mixtape California Republic. He's on that talking about he gonna go to Belize and pop tags and this, that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I talk to Shyne a lot. It's like, you know, one brother in hip hop, so to speak. But I'm just glad he got out of jail.
And if you go listen to his first album, his unreleased material, you know, you close your eyes, you think that was Shyne.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not a problem. I'm flattered. I'm happy. I took him under the wing. I said, it's okay. You could be me. It's all right. You know what I'm saying? You paying homage. You know, you come from a real environment. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? It's cool, man. But he just don't make no sense. And this is a perfect example of that. You know, Kendrick Lamar is dope, and I said he was dope. Said he got mad potential. Said that he could make a classic album. I just didn't feel that his album was classic. And you know, he's not proven. He's not proven. Again, this is the culture we live in. He ain't, what he did is one thing if I'd have said something about Dr. Dre, or I'd have said something about Ice Cube, or I'd have said something about somebody that's proven, and people get all, you know, emotional. But to say something about an artist that ain't never did nothing, what he did, he ain't never did nothing. We might not even be talking about him next year. You understand what I'm talking about? So, you know, it ain't nothing with him, and he handled it the right way as far as I was concerned. He said, yo, listen, you know, that's his opinion, whatever. And he moved on. Even when he did a little record, he said, yo, you know, he joked about it. It's nothing. Like, this guy, he just being a whore. You know, he got an album coming out, and he's just promoting. Because, you know, again, you got to look at people's actions. First, 50 Cent was a rat, and it's, you know, G you not, and he going to campaign riding on 50. Now he want to apologize to 50. He crying, he tearing up, talking about, you know, I want to go back to G Unit. You know, so this is who you dealing with.
For 50, man, like I'm just going, I'm gonna apologize to him. You know, just as a man. They don't have nothing to do with music or beef or nothing like that. Like,
how you have beef with a punk? You understand? If this dude is so much of a punk.
That, nigga. Stay off of him, nigga. Alright? You stand on me, nigga. Alright? The hospital, nigga. That, right? What? You wanna finish it? You wanna finish it right here? What? Shit, nigga.
Yeah. Let's go. They call on the pillow.
You wanna put nigga on the internet? Huh? You wanna put nigga on? Oh, you squaring up? Huh? Look at him, 40 Glock. Look at 40 Glock, y'all. Punk ass nigga.
Number one, if you look at the camera, the dude walked away. So I don't know where they do that at. At least when we had fights, when we was young, we tried to kill somebody. Dudes is gonna be brain dead, or they wouldn't have no jibs, their teeth would be gone. Something gonna happen. Jaw broke, nothing. The dude walked away and gave an interview the next day. Come on, man. Are you serious? That's not Killer Cali. Don't let this kid fool you. He don't represent Killer Cali. He ain't about that life. You understand? Because if he was about that, he'd have put a hot one in the kid, or the kid would have been in the hospital in a coma, something. So these dudes is playing, man. They playing. You sold a few million records. You're famous. Why are you running around trying to be a tough guy? And you're not even doing a good job at it. Because tough guys don't let people walk away from fights. Real tough guys don't even have fights. You understand? They putting you in a casket. Because when you have a problem, real tough guys don't have problem with punks. So having problems and letting your rivals live is not good for business. Because real rivals, if he really had beef, they'd be following him at every show, right? And he wouldn't be able to eat. They would just make life difficult for him. Mm-hmm. You understand? Yeah. So you know, it's really, you know, it's publicity, it's that media whore stuff, and you know, it's not kosher. You know what I'm saying? And it's not honest, because you can't support somebody for 12 years. Mm. You can't say shine, shine, shine for 12 years, and then I give an opinion that you could disagree with, and then now I'm this, I'm that, I'm woo. Come on, it's not honest. Nobody gonna believe that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
What type of nigga slang and bang in the streets? Bad boy. What type of nigga stay in the trunk for weeks? Bad boy. What type of nigga fly Bentley cool? Bad boy. Aim for the sky, cop the shit, then shoot. Men striking on the floor. Banging on your horse, second the Christ scientists examining for flaws. Pour the Cristal on the way to trial. Rico Law got a nigga head hurting, squirting till they pull the curtain. Let the money drip dry. $100 bills wipe the tears from my eyes. No love, fuck y'all niggas. Hope you die slow, death as I cold test and see the world.